5 2.5 Let's march warming up. 1. Observe the pictures and answer. A. Main difference between the two images. B. Change required. C. Your contribution as a student to help and make a difference to needy children. 2. Put AP or O. A good speech delivered requires the following characteristics. 1. Well planned and thoughts well organized. 2. Delivered softly and in a low voice. 3. Speaker need not greet the dignitaries and audience. 4. Language used should be suitable to the audience. 5. Speech should be of a proper duration. 6. Speaker should be passive, and have no facial expressions. 7. Speech should be supported by good examples/episodes/visual aids. Where possible. 8. Speaker should switch over from one language to another. 76.3. Read the expressions and insert them in the proper columns. Put the proper expression numbers in the right column. Greeting/salutation introduction body of the conclusion thanking the speech audience expressions. 1. Imagine. After 10 years, what will happen? 2. Let me begin, today, by sharing my own experience. 3. Honorable chief guest, eminent dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. 4. I don't understand why we accept this issue so passively. 5. I am Adarsh Birajdar, designation, standing before you. 6. A renowned personality, name, says. 7. Good morning, to one and all present today. 8. I express my deep gratitude to the organizers of this event/function. 9. Let me give you an example. 10. Thank you all for a patient listening and your interest in my talk. 11. You must have noticed that. 12. Before I conclude, I would like you to think over the fact that 4. With the help of your teacher and classmates, make a list of as many Indian Nobel laureates as you can. You can use internet or school library. Name Nobel Prize for 77 leaders aspiration, an ardent wish or desire. Let's march. Kailash Satyarthi, 1954, is an Indian children's rights and education advocate and an activist against child labor. He founded the Bachpan Bachao Andolan in 1980 and has acted to protect the rights of more than 83,000 children across 144 countries. He has been honored with many awards including Nobel Peace Prize of 2014. He had addressed this speech on the eve of Nobel Prize distribution ceremony. Part I. My dear children of the world, Your Majesties, Your Royal Highnesses, Excellencies, distinguished members of the Norwegian Nobel Committee, dear brother Tom Harkin, brothers and sisters, and my dear daughter Malala. From this podium of peace and humanity, I am deeply honored to recite a mantra from the ancient texts of wisdom, Vedas. This mantra carries a prayer, an aspiration, and a resolve that has the potential to liberate humanity from all man-made crises. Let's walk together. In the pursuit of global progress, not a single person should be left out or left behind in any corner of the world, from east to west, from south to north. Let's speak together, let our minds come together. Learning from the experiences of our ancestors, let us together create knowledge for all that benefits all. I bow to my late parents, to my motherland India, and to the Mother Earth. With a warm heart I recall how thousands of times, I have been liberated, each time I have freed a child from slavery. In the first smile of freedom on their beautiful faces, I see the God smiling. I give the biggest credit of this honor to my movements Kala Kumar, Dhum Das, and Adarsh Kishore from India and Iqbal Masif from Pakistan, who made the supreme sacrifice for protecting the 78 freedom and dignity of children. I humbly accept this award on behalf of all such martyrs, my fellow activists across the world and my countrymen. My journey from the great land of Lord Buddha, Guru Nanak, and Mahatma Gandhi, India to Norway is a connect between the two centers of global peace and brotherhood, ancient and modern. Friends, the Nobel Committee has generously invited me to present a lecture. Respectfully, I am unable to do that. Because, I am representing here, the sound of silence, the cry of innocence, and the face of invisibility. I represent millions of those children who are left behind, and that's why I have kept an empty chair here as a reminder. I have come here only to share the voices and dreams of our children, because they are all our children. Gesture to everyone in the audience. I have looked into their frightened and exhausted eyes. I have held their injured bodies and felt their broken spirits. 20 years ago, in the foothills of the Himalayas, I met a small, skinny child laborer. He asked me, "Is the world so poor that it cannot give me a toy and a book, instead of forcing me to take a gun or a tool?" I met with a Sudanese child soldier. He was kidnapped by an extremist militia. As his first training lesson, he was forced to kill his friends and family. He asked me, "What is my fault?" Friends, all the great religions teach us to care for our children. Jesus said, "Let the children come to me, do not hinder them, for the kingdom of God belongs to them." The Holy Quran says, "Kill not your children because of poverty." Friends, there is no greater violence than to deny the dreams of our children. Therefore, I refuse to accept that all the temples and mosques and churches and prayer houses have no place for the dreams of our children. I refuse to accept that the world is so poor, when just 1 week of global military expenditure can bring 7,799 liters dignity, self-respect, the sound of silence, unheard plea of the deprived, face of invisibility, unnoticed suffering of the poor and innocent. Oh, what does Satyartha refuse to accept? Shackles, chains that bind. Oh, what is the only aim in life for Kailash Satyartha? Oh, culminate, reach the highest level. Oh, unprecedented, never known or experienced before. All the children to classrooms. I refuse to accept that all the laws and constitutions, police, and judges are unable to protect our children. I refuse to accept that the shackles of slavery can ever be stronger than the quest for freedom. I refuse to accept here. My only aim in life is that every child is free to be a child, free to grow and develop, free to eat, sleep, and see daylight, free to laugh and cry, free to play and learn, free to go to school, and above all, free to dream. I have the privilege of working with many courageous people who have the same aim. We have never given up against any threat or attack, and we never will. We have made progress in the last couple of decades. We have reduced the number of out-of-school children by half. We have reduced the number of child laborers by a third. We have reduced child mortality and malnutrition, and we have prevented millions of child deaths. But, let us make no mistake, great challenges still remain. Friends, the biggest challenge or biggest crisis knocking on the doors of humankind is fear and intolerance. We have utterly failed our children in imparting an education that gives the meaning and objective of life. An education that gives a sense of global citizenship among the youth. I am afraid that the day is not very far away when the cumulative result of this failure will culminate in an unprecedented violence, and that will be suicidal for humankind. 80 rights, security, hope can only be restored through education. Young people like Malala. I've started calling her my daughter Malala, not just Malala. So my daughter Malala and other daughters including Kainat. In fact, 2 Kainats and Shazia and the daughters from Africa, and from all over the world. They are rising up and choosing peace over violence, tolerance over extremism, and courage over fear. The solutions are emerging. But these solutions cannot be found in the deliberations in conferences alone, and cannot be found in prescriptions from a distance. They lie in small groups and local organizations and individuals, who are confronting with the problem every day. Even if they remain unacknowledged, unrecognized, and unknown to the world, the solutions are with them. Part 2. We can do it. You may ask that, what can one person do? I would recall a story of my childhood. A heavy fire had broken out in the forest. All the animals were running away, including Lion, the king of the forest. Suddenly, then he saw a tiny bird rushing towards the fire. He asked the bird, "What are you doing?" To the lion's surprise, the bird replied, "I am going to extinguish the fire." The lion laughed and said, "How can you do it keeping just one drop of water in your beak?" The bird was adamant, and she said, "I am doing my bit." 18 years ago, millions of individuals marched across the globe and demanded a new international law for the abolition of worst form of child labor, and it has happened. We did it, millions of individuals did it. Friends, we live in an age of rapid globalization. We are connected through high-speed internet. We owe deliberations, long discussion after careful thinking, confronting, facing and attacking. What did millions of individuals demand 18 years ago? 81 leaders compassion, pity and concern for those suffering. Inculcate, develop by instructing. Intergenerational, involving several generations. He does the 8-year-old girl's question shake Mr. Satyartha? Hate matters according to Satyartha? Hate does Satyartha challenge? Passivity, no action taken. Neutrality, not supporting or helping exchange our goods and services in one single global market. Thousands of flights every day connect us from one corner to another corner of the globe. But there is one serious disconnect, and there is a lack of compassion. Let us inculcate and transform these individuals' compassion into a global compassion. Let us globalize compassion. Mahatma Gandhi said, "If we are to teach real peace in this world, we shall have to begin with the children." I humbly add, let us unite the world through the compassion for our children. I ask, whose children are they who stitch footballs, yet never played with one? Whose children are they who harvest cocoa, yet have never tasted chocolate? Whose children are they who are dying of Ebola? Whose children are they who are kidnapped and held hostage? They are all our children. I remember an 8-year-old girl we rescued from intergenerational forced labor from stone quarries. When she was sitting in my car right after her rescue, she asked me, "Why did you not come earlier?" Her angry question still shakes me and has the power to shake the whole world. Her question is for all of us. What are we doing? What are we waiting for? How many girls will we allow to go without rescue? Children are questioning our inaction and watching our actions. We need collective actions with a sense of urgency. Every single minute matters, every single child matters, every single childhood matters. Therefore, I challenge the passivity and pessimism surrounding our children. I challenge this culture of silence and this culture of passivity, this culture of neutrality. 82 Part 3 I call upon all the governments, intergovernmental agencies, businesses, faith leaders, workers, teachers, and NGOs, and each one of us, to put an end to all forms of violence against children. Slavery, trafficking, child marriages, child labor, sexual abuse, and illiteracy, these things have no place in any civilized society. Friends, we can do this. Governments must make child-friendly policies, and invest in education and young people. Businesses must be more responsible, accountable, and open to innovative partnerships. Intergovernmental agencies must work together to accelerate action. Global civil society must rise above the business as usual and fragmented agendas. Faith leaders and institutions, and all of us must stand with our children. We must be bold, we must be ambitious, and we must have the will. We must keep our promises. Over 50 years ago, on the first day of my school, I met a cobbler boy my age sitting outside the gate of my school. I asked my teachers, why is he working outside? Why is he not with us in the school? My teachers had no answer. One day, I gathered the courage to ask the boy's father. He said, "Sir, I have never thought about it. We are born to work." His answer made me angry. It still makes me angry. As a child, I had a vision of tomorrow. A vision of that cobbler boy sitting with me in my classroom. Now, that tomorrow has become today. I am today, and you are today. Today it is time for every child to have a right to life, right to freedom, right to health, right to education, right to safety, right to dignity, right to equality, and right to peace. Today, beyond the darkness, I see the smiling faces of our children in the blinking stars. Today, in every wave of every ocean, I see my children are playing and dancing. Today, in every plant, in 83 liters innovative, having new advanced ideas or methods L fragmented, split up or disunified L agenda, a plan of things to be done to solve a problem. Oh, what was the response of the boy's father? What was Siddhartha's reaction to it? Oh, what was Mr. Siddhartha's vision as a child? Oh, what is your vision of tomorrow? Oh, what rights should every child have, in our times? Oh, what does Mr. Siddhartha request the listeners? Oh, according to Mr. Siddhartha, who are calling for us? L. Democratize, make democratic. L. Exploitation, take undue advantage of every tree and mountain. I see our children growing freely with dignity. Friends, I want you to see and feel this today inside you. My dear sisters and brothers, as I said, many interesting things are happening today. May I please request you to put your hand close to your heart, close your eyes and feel the child inside you. I am sure you can. Now, listen to that child. Listen please. Today, I see thousands of Mahatma Gandhis, Nelson Mandelas, and Martin Luther Kings calling on us. Let us democratize knowledge. Let us universalize justice. Together, let us globalize compassion. I call upon you in this room, and all across the world. I call for a march from exploitation to education. I call for a march from poverty to shared prosperity, a march from slavery to liberty, and a march from violence to peace. Let us march from ignorance to awakening. Let us march from darkness to light. Let us march from mortality to divinity. Let us march. Nobel Acceptance Speech by Kailash Satyarthi, English Workshop 1. Name the following. A. The persons to whom Kailash Satyarthi gives the highest credit of his honor. B. The greatest personalities from the land of Buddha. C. So-called daughters of Kailash Satyarthi. D. The foreign activists of equal rights, mentioned in the speech. 2. Mention the social issues highlighted by Kailash Satyarthi in his speech. One social issue is given for you. A. Child labor. B. C. D. E. F. 84.3. Complete the following diagram/chart. To the aim in life of Kailash Satyarthi is that every child too should be free. 4. Complete the following web chart. Let us what Kailash Satyarthi appeals. Let us 5. Think and give your own response. A. How can education help the deprived children and child laborers? B. Name any other social activist who has worked/is working earnestly for child welfare. Write about his/her activities. C. What message does the little bird story of the forest fire convey to us? Explain. D. Besides the political freedom that our nation enjoys, what other freedom should it strive for? Say why. E. What is your impression of the acceptance speech given by Kailash Satyarthi when he received the Nobel Prize? Write in 3 to 4 sentences. 6. Choose the correct option and write in front of the given word, to convey the exact meaning. A. Divinity. I. Goodness. 2. Godliness. 3. God-fearing. B. Extremist. I. Militant. 2. Robber. 3. Spy. C. Culminate. I. Destroy. 2. Succeed. 3. Rise to a peak. D. Exploitation. I. Explosion. 2. Misuse. 3. Employment. E. Mortality. I. Death. 2. Virtues. 3. Starvation. F. Dignity. I. Self-pride. 2. Self-support. 3. Self-esteem. 85.7. Pick out from the lesson A. Noun forms of the following words. A. Dignified. B. Pacify. C. Pursue. D. Ignore. E. Poor. F. Divine. B. Verb forms of A. Democracy. B. Global. C. Hindrance. D. Resolution. E. Liberty. F. Service. 8. A. use the following words as a noun as well as a verb and make meaningful sentences with each set, in your notebook. March, honor, credit, stitch. B. Write minimum 4 hidden words of more than 4 letters from, intergovernmental. C. Make meaningful sentences by using the following phrases, in your notebook. A. In the pursuit of. B. Be afraid of. C. Give up. D. Pick from the lesson the antonyms of ignorance, immortality, deny, violence, well-known, slavery. I9. A. What will you do in the following situations? A. If you see a child working in a restaurant. B. If you find a child working at a construction site. C. If you find a child working at a brickwork site. D. If you come across a beggar child. B. Write any 2 efforts that you can make to enroll deprived children / out of school children into a school. 1 is given for you. A. I will persuade parents of such children to send them to school. B. C. 10. A. Types of sentence. A sentence is a group of words that expresses a complete idea. Sentences can be classified in various ways. The following is a classification of sentences. I. Assertive sentence, statement. A sentence that makes a statement or assertion is a sentence. For example, there are many villages in India. 2. Interrogative sentence. It is a sentence that asks a question. It is of 2 subtypes. Yes/no interrogative sentence. It generally begins with a helping verb or an auxiliary verb and can be answered by saying yes or no. For example, are you 86 coming with us? WH interrogative sentence. It begins with a WH word, such as who and why, and cannot be answered by saying yes or no. For example, what is the time? 3. Imperative sentence. It expresses commands, requests, etc. It generally begins with a verb. For example, open your books. 4. Exclamatory sentence. It expresses a strong feeling. For example, how wonderful the river looks, what a shame. B. Say whether the following sentences are assertive, statements, imperative, commands, requests, etc., interrogative, questions, or exclamatory, exclamations. 1. The mantra carries a prayer. 2. Is the world so poor? 3. Kill not your children because of poverty. 4. Let's walk together. 5. What can one person do? 6. We have made progress. 7. How utterly we have failed our children. 8. What a big challenge it is. C. Rewrite the following sentences as assertive statements. 1. Why didn't you come earlier? 2. How frightened their eyes look. 3. How angry it makes me. 4. Should I accept such shackles of slavery? 5. What can one person do? 11. A. Observe the following underlined phrases. Here have/has are followed by the past participle form of the verb. This construction indicates the present perfect tense. Find more such sentences from the text. 1. We have made progress in the last couple of decades. 2. We have prevented millions of child deaths. 3. It has happened. 4. 5. B. In the following sentences the underlined words are called infinitives. Find such examples from the speech and underline the infinitives. 1. Every child is free to grow. 2. I refuse to accept that all the laws and constitutions, police, and judges are unable to protect our children. 3, 4, 5, 87, C. Complete the following sentences with the help of the sentence given below. A. The biggest challenge knocking on the doors of humankind is fear and intolerance. I. No other challenge knocking as big as. 2. Fear and intolerance are bigger. B. The Nobel Prize is one of the greatest honors in the world. I. Very few honors. 2. The Nobel Prize is greater than 12. A. Match the sentences given in Part A with the sentences given in Part B. Note the differences in structure. A. Part B. Part 1. he was kidnapped by an extremist. A. They forced the child to kill his militia. Friends and family. 2. The child was forced friends and family to kill his. B. We can do this. 3. This can be done by us. C. An extremist militia kidnapped him. B. You might have observed that the sentences in Part A are in the passive voice while the sentences in Part B are in the active voice. Now change the following sentences into the passive voice. 1. We can do it. 2. Her angry question still shakes me. 3. Governments must make child-friendly policies. 4. His answer made me angry. 13. Imagine your school invites Malala to preside over Children's Day celebration program. Draft a welcome speech for this guest of honor. Gather information about her from internet or your school library. While drafting a speech, the following points should be kept in mind. 1. Greeting and salutation. 2. Self-introduction and introduction of the topic. 3. A catchy thought/piece of news/short episode, to start with. 4. Body of the speech supported with related examples and episodes. 5. Conclusion superscript 2 superscript 2 superscript 2 superscript